Hi, Statesmen Nation. It's Wade Steinluggy, SID here at William Penn, bringing you another weekly press conference. We are a couple days late, and actually a whole bunch of days late because we were planning on doing this last week. Couldn't do it. We had a professional development last week, so we're now doing it this week. And I think moving forward, we're probably going to go every other week. So make this get any old or anything. So hopefully we can continue to talk to the coaches and get a lot of really good fresh content out there, and you guys can hear from all the coaches and obviously also some awesome student athletes here at William Penn. So without further ado, I'm just gonna actually open it up right to Sam Parsons if he has any questions. I know we have a couple individuals that need to dart out pretty quickly here, but Sam, Todd, Coach Hafner, and Brandon Williams of the cross country team both need to be leaving early. So do you have any questions for either one of those individuals?
Okay, perfect. First, sorry, I still don't have a webcam here, but you guys know what they say about people with the face for radio and all that stuff.
That's me.
We know Wade's got one too.
Yes, I do.
The other night.
Yes, I do.
Right. Yep. So I guess I'll go to Todd first. Todd, first obvious question that I have after last week's game against Central Methodist is just about the health of some of the players that left the game. You know, you had Sterling Ramsey and Chauncey Andrews, obviously both leaving with injuries. What's the update on those guys' status?
Well, Chauncey ended up, we had a scare there with him. They ended up taking him to the hospital. He had some x-rays and some other evaluations done, and he ended up showing back up at the end of the game. They released him with a clean bill of health, other than he's just going to be really sore for quite a while. He landed, it took a hit to the legs, flipped him, and he landed right on the top of his head, and there was quite the concern. It was a scary incident. It happened right in front of me, and I knew right when it happened that this could be bad. And so I thought the trainers did a fantastic job. Our trainers, their trainers, but the paramedics were fantastic. They did everything they needed to do and took every precaution necessary. Fortunately for Chauncey, and us, it just looks like that he has a strain, and so he's going to be okay. In the long run, he's still very sore, even as of yesterday. Sterling is in concussion protocol. He got a whiplash hit and then hit his face on the turf, and so there was a concussion protocol going on with him right now. We hope that with the bye week and some things like that he will be ready to play on Thursday, but we will not rush him back. We will make sure that every measure is taken to make sure that he is healthy before he gets back on the practice field or game field.
Okay, perfect. And I also just kind of wanted to ask another obvious question, just general takeaways with how the team played against Central Methodist on Saturday.
Well, again, defensively, I can't say enough. Offensively, I know, we scored 9 points, but we are so close. And if you're not a coach, you don't really understand some of the little things that are going into this. But, we had some wide open receivers that we missed. We had, the backs missed a couple cuts that probably potentially would have been touchdowns. And I think our guys are starting to understand, after some film study and after some things, how close we really are. We just need to put it all together. Again, defensive was fantastic. Our special teams were great. We blocked another PAT. Ethan made a field goal that basically won us the game. And so we're playing better. We're improving each and every game, and we're looking forward to the weeks ahead.
All right. Thanks, Coach Hafner. And I guess to move on to Brandon here, because I know he's got to be on his way out here pretty soon. Brandon, just a quick question about Cedar Rapids coming up here, as you guys are going to be going there, I believe, this weekend. Just what do you know about the course that they have there for the Mount Mercy thing that you guys have going on, and what's kind of going to be your mental approach this week?
Brandon, you're muted.
There we go. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, so what I was just saying is like the stuff from last season and some things I've heard about the course coming up. It's definitely a pancake flat course, and we've been working really hard still building through the weeks. Volume hasn't dropped down, so we're all looking forward to racing really fast. And if it doesn't go well, which happens sometimes, like in the back of our minds, we just have to tell ourselves that we've been training through this, and when we start to back off, things will get better. But I think a lot of us will have really solid results coming up here on Saturday.
Yeah, and Brandon, I know you guys have a young team this year. Just how do you feel about the way that you guys have? How do you feel about just kind of the vibe of the team right now through 2 races?
Yeah, there's a lot of mental toughness throughout the team, and everyone really likes to work together, especially in practice. And we're already talking about things for the future, like this upcoming track season or the goals we're expecting for our next cross country season. I know everybody wants to get to nationals, but for us, it's a little different. It hits the heart a little more. So yeah, we're definitely training really hard on that.
All right, thank you. That was all I had for Coach Hafner and Brandon for now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
I'll let you go, Brandon. Good luck in class. All right, Sam, if you want to take the wheel, go ahead. Otherwise, I will. It's your call. You're the media member.
You can go ahead. Wait, I'll see if I can cook up any other questions for the rest of the guys here.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna jump over to women's volleyball since they played last night. Coach Eldridge, 3 pretty tight sets over there in Nebraska last night against Peru, but came away with all 3 of them. And the team came out just blazing hot at the start. Just kind of recap last night's match.
Yeah, we always know it's tough to win on the road, especially when it's a 4.5-hour drive. Set 1, we saw us up 19-9, and then somehow let Peru come back within 2 or 3 points. We finish it out. It's all about how we finish. Set 2 and set 3 is similar how we ended, but we always kind of kept the lead. Didn't really let them get more than a 2, maybe 3-point run. I think that's something we needed to work on, especially this last week when we played Mount Mercy. Kind of let them take advantage of those 2 or 3, 4-point run leads. And then this weekend we have really tough competition. So if we can keep that like we did last night, I think we'll be fine. Yeah.
Blocking wise, another huge, like you said in the quote, huge blocking night for you guys. 13 blocks, including 7 by Corinne, who's also on this morning. So talk about that, the extra attention you guys have put into that to obviously make that a big part of your game, to not let balls through, or at least not let them through without getting a touch.
Yeah, our blocking has been huge for us this year. We practice it a lot in practice. We break up and just focus solely on blocking during practice. I think that shows in our games. We're, I think, the second or the first team in conference with blocking, and Peru was the last one, and it kind of showed, and it really helps us just funnel our defense to our libero as well. So not only are we getting good touches, but it's funneling to our left back or our middle back instead of having our setters take that first ball.
Right, definitely. Corinne, let's talk to you for a second. Hopefully you don't have class soon either. I didn't hear anything about that, so okay, you're good. All right. Senior year, actually 5th year senior year, right? Yes, okay, make sure I'm doing my math. Came back and obviously wanted to play another year, and this team is as deep as I remember a team as far as hitters go. When you're talking yourself, you have Andressa, you have Olivia, and Alyssa, another middle for you. Riley's in there. You guys, a lot of individuals. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody as well, but a lot of individuals that can put the ball down. Takes a lot of pressure off yourself. But talk about your hitting core.
Just kind of like you said, like, I think it's, for our team, it's really important that we have that many weapons, because I think you'll see in other teams that we play is like, oh, this number, blah, 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 like that's their person. I think it's important for us, for all of us to be on, because sometimes like someone's having a bad game, someone else needs to step up. But I think that's really where, like, especially last night, I think a lot of us, like all of our hitters were really on. And so that does take a lot of pressure off of other people, because like we're all out there for a reason and we all should be able to put the ball down. And so I think that is what we've been focusing on a lot. Coach definitely just executing when you can, just so we don't go on runs, because I think that is really something we do struggle with, is letting other teams go on runs when we can't get out of like a rotation because it's our mistakes. And so just really important to have those like 6 or more people that can really put the ball down.
Right, definitely. Caitlin Jeter, another one I just thought popped in my head. I'll stay with you, Corinne, for just a second. you guys have obviously had, some ups and downs this year, getting really hot, obviously beating Central Methodist, a huge victory, then, losing to some teams you probably didn't want to lose to, obviously, but where's the team morale right here as we're going into the last month? We're pretty much a little past the halfway point. So what do you guys feel like? Where are you standing as a team?
I think we're kind of really settling into the part of where it's like we're setting those emotions, like outside emotions behind, and just focus on playing and trusting each other as a team. Because like you said, we did lose to some teams like Culver Stockton. Like that was a very emotional game for us, and like it definitely let it get the best of us. But it's like I think we realized once we go out there and play the game we're supposed to, we're a really, really good team. And so it's just like getting those emotions out of the way, I think really like sets us over the edge to like be successful.
Thank you.
I had a quick question as well for Corinne, just real quick. Corinne, I know that obviously being one of the leaders of this team, just from your perspective, how do you feel about the way that the team has played so far this year relative to what your expectations were for the squad heading in?
I think at the beginning of the season, we were a little just like disappointed because we definitely know we're very talented. Like on paper, statistically wise, we are very, very talented. I think it was just putting that all together. And so, but now looking back like 2 months later, we're finally clicking. Like I think we're trusting each other, communicating a lot more, and just realizing that we're a great team and that we can all be great at one time. Like it doesn't have to be just one person. I think it really takes all of us. And so I think we're really realizing that. And so that's been really fun to see the improvement from like 2 months ago to now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Elise, you guys also just competed last night, and this is actually, I think, the first time you've been on the press conference because you've not been able to make it, being on Monday mornings with tournaments. So kind of recap the season a little bit, especially coming off in both seasons. We were talking men's and women's golf, but I guess if you want to first talk about the men's golf tournament down in Columbia, and then just kind of get us caught up on where the teams are right now.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me on. So just to start with the men, obviously we got back yesterday from Columbia, Missouri. It was a really deep field. We had a couple of teams from our conference in there, so it was good to see kind of where we lined up. And they're really talented, that's for sure. So it was a tough track, but we took a lot of learnings from last week in Indiana and really put them into practice this week. And I definitely saw some improvement. So I was pleased with that. We kind of everyone was kind of a little bit off their game, which happens in golf. You're never going to have your best, you can't force your best game to happen. So the best thing that we learned was, about playing well when we don't have our best stuff. So that was a really good takeaway from this week. And although we finished 9th out of 11 schools, I think, something like that. We actually scored relatively well. It was just a very competitive tournament. So yeah, so back it up with the men. Previous week we went to Indiana, and some rough weather, but we took a lot of learnings out of it, learning how to play in tough conditions and learning how to play when you're going through bad streaks, how to get out of that bad streak. And then prior to that, we had a 1 day at Simpson, which they won. We had a good day. It wasn't anything amazing, and the field wasn't quite as strong there. So and then previous to that, our first tournament of the year was our home tournament, which we won as well. And Spencer and Austin just went off that day, which that's their home course, so they really should, to be honest. But they definitely showed how much talent they have, and I'm trying to take that and show them how they can do that at other golf courses as well. Particularly our conference preview that's coming up next. It's almost like a home course for us. It's only 40 minutes away, so we're going to try to get out there as much as we can and prepare as best as we can, because that's our advantage for conference, is that we're so close and we can go and practice it as much as we can. Yeah. So in terms of the women have had a really good start to the year. We've got some really great talent out of our top two, particularly Gabby Franco and Olivia Longue. Gabby is a freshman. She's absolutely killing it right now. She broke the school record already in her second tournament of the year. So shot a 68, which is 3 under par at that golf course. And, you know, we played pretty well there. We had some ups and downs at Northwest Iowa. Again, the women did really well at our home tournament, winning that tournament, which was very, very good. You know, I see them trending in the right direction. You know, we've got that talent, but we need to have 5 players who can perform for conference. You know, we're not taking it for granted that, you know, just because we won conference last year, that we'll win it again. You know, and that's what I'm trying to ingrain in them, is that, you know, we need to actually work really, really hard and not take anything for granted, and perform on each tournament that we get an opportunity. And that'll be the theme leading into TPC Deer Run next week, which is our unofficial national preview. We're hosting that tournament as well, so we're going to have the whole team down there supporting them, which will be a really fun experience for them. And then after that tournament, we'll be going to the Hart Conference preview as well with the men. But yeah, the women are looking really good. It's really exciting, the talent that we have. We've just got to find a way to get our five to be very, very consistent every single time.
Okay. All right, thanks. Sam, any questions for Elise? And I should say Elise Ibrahim. You still have it as Warren on your screen, so that's who me.
Yeah. Not officially changed yet, just for
yeah,
reasons, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I guess my questions would just be, what's kind of the read on the courses that you guys have coming up? You got TPC Deer Run next week, like you said, and then at the Hart preview, you're going to the Preserve, and that's going to be for both men and women. How do those courses play, and what are the areas of play that you're really going to need to succeed in order to place well?
Yeah, I mean, TPC is an amazing course. I played there as an athlete as well. It was one of my favorites. They play there on the PGA Tour, so it's obviously a very difficult track. You know, it's hilly, undulated. It's got trees, big greens. So, you know, for the girls, we're looking to, you know, avoid the big misses, avoid putting yourself in really bad spots off the tee. And then, you know, it's all about, you know, pace on the greens and all that kind of stuff, and creativity around the greens. But most importantly, I think for both teams actually, is just getting off the tee really consistently and not putting yourself under stress for the rest of the hole. So that's something that we talked about with the men's team this week, actually, because it was similar. It was a tight track with lots of trees, and if you were a little bit wayward, you know, you were scrambling from there. So for the girls, yeah, definitely just keeping it consistent off the tee is going to be a really important factor. And it's an unofficial national preview, so, you know, we're playing against the best teams in the country. The top 25 teams are invited, so you know, they're not going to make that many mistakes. You know, they're very, very talented, very good players. So you know, if we want to be competitive, we have to limit as many mistakes as possible and just trust our games. In terms of the Hart preview, it's almost a completely opposite track. It's flat, it's open, there's no trees, there's lots of fescue, and it gets really, really windy out there. So you have to play a bit of a different game. The fescue is, you know, once it's in there, you're never going to find it again. So being accurate off the tee is important. But, you know, playing the wind, playing low balls, knockdowns, things like that, you know, that's something that we'll focus on in practice and before the tournament. But yeah, that's golf. You know, you gotta play the courses slightly differently. But you know, that's what the best players can do. The best players can play all of the shots. So that'll be our focus before the Hart preview.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. The gentlemen on the left have been very patient. Appreciate Caleb and Simon there. Simon, you're sitting in the dark. Look a little Godfather-ish going on right there. So we'll let you we'll let you go first because you look real cool right there. So talk about tonight's game. I guess first off, the Grandview matchup is always a fun one. I guess that's the nicest way to put that Grandview matchup. There's always a lot of energy and a lot of passion in that rivalry. So let's get right and talk about tonight's matchup against Vikings.
Yeah, I think we've been talking a lot this week about how can we take the emotion out of the game. I think some of the stuff last year was we made it too emotional where it didn't have to be. Especially the first game, not so much the second game because it's the playoff and it has to be. But yeah, the first game there was just too much emotion from us. So that's what we've been really working on. But trying to find that balance between how can we take the emotion out of the game but still play with that passion that we need to not only win a conference game but to beat a quality team like Grandview. So that's been the focus since the Missouri Valley game, and we saw some glimpses on Saturday of how good we could be, and then we just didn't complete the full 90 minutes. You know, we there were spells where we were on top of one of the top 5 teams in the country, and then they just have such individual brilliance that they can punish you at any moment, and that's exactly what happened in the game. So it's not very often you outshoot a top team like that and then have a great performance, and then don't back it up with the goals that you need. So again, we're just looking to bring that positive performance of the good moments from Saturday into the game tonight, and hopefully it comes out well against a quality Grandview team.
Well, Sam, questions for Coach Brown?
So what is before you make me an offer that I can't refuse, that is, what is the read on Grandview? Like you said, they're a quality team, but kind of how do you feel you match up with them?
So I've been to watch them a couple of times and just watching the film and stuff like that. They're a new coach, lots of new players. And then just to give you an example, they have scored 3 goals. I think it's 3 in the last minute of games to salvage either a win or a tie. So just from reading that, you can see the tremendous character. They have a lot of positive emotion on the sideline in the games. They work tremendously hard. They're scrappy. So again, we know what they're going to be like coming into this game, especially a home game for us. We had to go there twice last year in the regular season and the playoffs. So again, we need to start making our home field a little bit more of a daunting place to come, because we had so many home games this year and we're hoping that they would be able to back them up with wins, but we've dropped 3 home games so far this season, which is a bit criminal. And then we only have 3 left, 2 in conference, or last 6 conference games, 4 of them on the road. And like Lauren said about the women's team, it's the exact same for us. It's so hard to win in this conference. It's even harder to win on the road. So again, we just need to back this up because we have this home game, and then 4 of our last 5 games are on the road. So really important for us. And then also this Grandview team, like I said, they're scrappy. They need a win. They haven't got a result in 3 games. So it's going to be really important that we're ready to play, because we know that they're desperate for a win, just like we are.
Perfect. Thank you.
You say you want home even more daunting. That's a scary proposition, because that's already a pretty scary place to play. We got our fans right there on the sideline. They're always pretty fun to watch. Again, fun being a very loose term there. how crazy they get on the sidelines, but hopefully they'll make it a really tough atmosphere for Grandview. All right.
I know the volleyball team and that are coming out as well, so I appreciate that, Lauren. A couple of other teams are coming out tonight, so hopefully that'll help.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, Caleb, you guys are back to race week. Let's talk about that. Brandon said it sounds like it's pretty, in his words, pancake flat course. So we're expecting some school record times, right?
I don't even know what our school record is at this point, but
26
sure.
even.
Okay.
Or 555, somewhere around there.
Maybe not with the volume we're running at this point in the season. I'd take it, but yeah, I mean, a pancake flat term is kind of a runner's term, if that's new to you, but yeah, it's a flat course. So long as it's not too windy, really, one of the ways I describe it, there's nothing in our way as far as running goes. So, being at full volume running and distance wise, we're right in the meat of that. I think we'll see 2 reasons. We'll see some fast times. One is because of the course. So long as it's not wet or windy, there's going to be nothing to slow us down. And number 2, I feel like this week we've really fully adjusted to the mileage, in the sense of their bodies now are performing quote unquote normal within the stress that they're experiencing as far as their the mileage and the workouts and the lifting and the core and all those things that we do. So yeah, those two things should produce some fast times for us, which for me in cross country, times are relative. Courses are short or long, or if you run tangents and that sort of thing. So we'll compete well, and I think that the team's ready to, and hopefully just gives us confidence going down into more of our quote unquote championship stretch of the season.
Definitely. Sam, question for Caleb?
Yeah, just kind of more of a general, more open-ended question that we've kind of already talked about what the course is going to be like this week. Just to give an insight on this, how do you guys handle your training at this point in the season, now that you're like halfway through the season, in comparison to, how does that compare to what it's like in the off season and in the lead up to the season?
Yeah, so really, if you like the off season, for like one of the things that I think you realize as a distance runner in college is we don't experience much of an off season, is one of the things that we have to grasp. And sometimes that is difficult to grasp for someone who wants to compete in cross country and track, because if you run on the cross country team, you're running on the track team. So you got 2 seasons, you're in season the whole time you're on campus. And it's one of the sports that conditioning is our sport in a sense. So where, some teams, you develop and work on skill in the off season. And then when you get into season, we can get some conditioning for, say, a sport that you're hitting a ball or throwing a ball or whatever. For us, we kind of go the opposite. The off season is our conditioning. We have to have the conditioning and the time there, so then we can develop the skill of pace once we get into season. And so as in the off season, we're doing a lot of mileage, a lot of slower running, a lot of we're building up the number of miles per week that we run. And we do a little bit of that once we get into season, maybe, about 10% more once we get on campus. Then the skill that we're developing once we're here, even more so, is how do we hone in on what is the pace that our body can handle with the work that we've done leading up to the season. And so that's kind of the stuff we focus on now. Our workouts really, once we get to this point of the year, very pace specific. We know what we've been competing in times wise on the cross country course. So like today, we've got a workout and we can dial in how fast do we want to run per rep. And then within that rep per 400 and per 200, we can break that down as far as we want to. So that's really, I guess, one way to look at it.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Coach, I heard you guys ran 15 miles 2 days ago. That's kind of crazy, for lack of a better term. Let's talk about, I don't even know how. I just wanted to, I guess, make a point of saying, I think that's crazy, but
Yeah,
you guys are amazing for being able to do it.
It's a weekly thing. So that's our top group of men right now. That's what they're running. But our men are running, that's nobody on our team is going less than 12 on a long run on the men's side. And on the women's side, we're running, around that 9-10 mile mark per week. And so that's just one of our runs, that we do as far as our long run. And that's just part of our weekly cycle of running. And like I was saying, in the off season, we don't run 15 necessarily in the summer. We might get to 13, maybe 14. And then that 10% increase, part of that is we increase a little bit of mileage there, and then a couple other places within our week. So it is a lot of running. It's a lot of time to be on the legs. So, which is, in a sense, as a distance runner, you've got to think a little bit different than, sometimes people are like, running a half marathon is a big deal if you go and do that, in your own time and stuff like that. But for us, it's like, that's got to be part of our training. So.
Yep. Well, good on you guys for doing that. I know that's what it takes, but those numbers, that's huge. So getting them ready. All right. Sam, any other questions? I actually do have one final one for Lauren, but do you have any other questions?
Nope, that's all I got for now. I'm just tired after hearing that.
I know, right? All right, Lauren, we actually haven't previewed this weekend here, so let's talk about Columbia and Evangel. Obviously, Evangel being the longest trip of the year, in Columbia, perennial power in the NAIA. So a couple of tough matches again, going in as we're into the second half of the season, and how that's going to prepare us for the final stretch.
Yeah, playing Columbia on Friday, it's going to be good preparation for Saturday. Yeah, that's a reason why you play that game, just so we can have some tough competition instead of just practicing. See that before Evangel, and then the week after that, we have Mount Mercy again. So it's nice to kind of play 2 tough competitions on the road again. I mean, Evangel on Saturday, they're always tough. It's always going to be a battle. They've had pretty similar season as us, up and down. Lost some teams they probably shouldn't have, beaten some teams. So I think Saturday's going to be a good kind of where we're going to head to the rest of the season, like where we're going to go for postseason.
Definitely. All right. Again, Sam, any final questions for this group?
Not right now. Just thanks again, everybody, for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Again, next week we are off, but we will be back in 2 weeks. Should be back to our normal 9 o'clock on a Monday morning schedule. So we look forward to seeing you again, Statesman Nation, and look forward to bringing you some great talk with all of our coaches and our student athletes. So everybody have a great rest of your week and go Statesman. Thanks.
Thanks, Wade.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.